There was a time when Venezuela wasn't just rich, it was honestly overflowing with wealth. Imagine a country where petrol was actually cheaper than water, where just a single coin could fill an entire tank, and, well, where opportunity seemed absolutely endless. But today, that same nation stands as one of the most shocking economic collapses in modern history. How does a country sitting on the largest proven oil reserves on Earth, run out of fuel? And how do thriving cities turn into places where people line up for hours just to survive another day? This isn't just a story about oil. It's in fact a story about power, decisions, and consequences that reshaped millions of lives. Before we go deeper, make sure you like this video. Share it with someone who perhaps needs to see it, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful history and documentary content like this. Now, let's break down how Venezuela went from unimaginable wealth to a nation fighting to survive. For decades, Venezuela was the crown jewel of South America's economy. Oil wasn't just a resource, it was the foundation of everything. The country built its infrastructure, funded its social programs, and shaped its identity around petroleum. At one point, fuel was so cheap it was practically free. People filled their tanks without thinking twice, and industries thrived on the back of endless reserves. This wasn't luck. It was a system built on a single powerful commodity. But that strength hid a dangerous weakness. Venezuela didn't diversify. Agriculture, manufacturing, and other industries were neglected because oil was simply too profitable. And that decision would come back to haunt the entire nation. In 1998, a new political era began under Hugo Chavez. His vision was simple: use oil wealth to uplift the poor. For a time, it worked. Housing projects expanded, healthcare improved, and education became more accessible. But behind the scenes, critical damage was unfolding. After a failed coup attempt in 2002, Chavez removed experienced leaders from the national oil company. The industry lost the expertise that kept it running efficiently. Production began to decline, slowly at first, then faster. At the same time, Venezuela doubled down on oil instead of diversifying. The entire economy became even more dependent on a single resource. So, when global oil prices crashed in 2013, the impact wasn't just economic, it was catastrophic. With oil revenues collapsing, the government lost its primary source of income. Infrastructure maintenance stopped, roads crumbled, power grids failed, water systems broke down. Then came hyperinflation. In 2021, inflation soared beyond 600%, wiping out savings and making basic goods unaffordable. Money itself became nearly worthless. A banknote that once held significant value could barely buy anything. Fuel shortages hit hardest. In a country built on oil, people now waited hours or even days to fill their tanks. Some couldn't get petrol at all. This wasn't just an economic crisis anymore. It was a complete system breakdown. Daily life in Venezuela, well, it transformed into a constant struggle. Water stopped flowing through pipes, forcing families to travel long distances just to collect enough to drink. Electricity became unreliable, with outages lasting days. Transportation nearly collapsed. Taxi drivers couldn't afford fuel. Farmers couldn't get their goods to market. Entire regions became isolated. In response, people adapted. Bartering replaced currency. Communities relied on each other instead of the state. Many returned to rural living, growing their own food just to survive. But even that wasn't easy. Nowhere is the crisis more visible than Lake Maracaibo, once the heart of Venezuela's oil industry. Today, abandoned oil wells leak continuously, spilling crude into the water. The lake has changed colour. Fish stocks are declining. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. Families still fish there, not because it's safe, but because they have no choice. The same oil that once made Venezuela rich is now poisoning the very people who depend on it. It's a powerful symbol of what happens when resources are mismanaged and left unchecked. Millions of Venezuelans have fled the country in search of better lives. Those who remain face rising costs, limited healthcare, and food shortages. Yet, despite everything, resilience stands out. People find ways to survive. Farmers adapt. Communities support one another. Individuals step in where institutions have failed, delivering food, medicine, and hope to the most remote regions. This isn't just a story of collapse, it's also a story of endurance. What Venezuela teaches the world. Venezuela's crisis is a warning. Natural resources alone don't guarantee prosperity. Without strong institutions, diversification, and long-term planning, even the richest nations can fall. Oil created Venezuela's wealth, but dependence on it, combined with political and economic decisions, led to its downfall. The lesson is clear: true stability comes from balance, not reliance. Venezuela's story isn't over. The country still holds immense potential, but rebuilding will take time, strategy, and trust. What remains undeniable is this: one of the richest nations on earth became a place where people struggled daily for basics like fuel, water, and food. And that transformation happened in just a few years. If you found this breakdown valuable, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, share this video with others, and drop your thoughts in the comments. More deep dive documentaries are coming your way.